This episode is made possible by our sponsor, Omega Bright Wellness. I've taken their omega-3 supplements for many years, and so has my wife, and that's why I invited them to sponsor my podcast. I'm proud to have them. You can find all of their products online at omegabrightwellness.com, and Bright is intentionally misspelled B-R-I-T-E, omegabrightwellness.com. This episode is also sponsored by Landmark College in beautiful Putney, Vermont. Learn more about the college of choice for students who learn differently at their virtual open house on March 19th. Register at landmark.edu/visit. landmark.edu/visit. Or by clicking the link in the show notes. Hello, and welcome to a mini episode of Distraction. I'm your host, Dr. Ned Hallowell, and our topic today is the topic of waiting. Well, those of us who have ADHD like me know how agonizing waiting can be. We are just torn up inside. In the TikTok I posted about waiting, I used the example of standing in line at the checkout counter at the grocery store when the person in front of you decides to pay with a check. And I'm thinking to myself, oh no, a check. I thought they were outdated, obsolete. I thought no one used them. Now we're going to have to go through all her identification or his identification and write it all down. Why in the world don't they just have a credit card? Why in the world are they doing this to me? And I get all worked up over having to wait. Now, in a sense, that's all we ever do on this planet, is wait. You know, Samuel Beckett wrote a whole play, Waiting for Godot. You know, we're waiting. We're here until we're not here anymore. And you might as well call it waiting. Now, of course, we all would say, well, no, we're progressing, we're growing, we're working, we're answering the bell, we're getting things done, we're adding value to the world, we're doing all those things. Well, that's all fine and good. But at some certain level, we're just waiting. So why turn that into torture? Why not use your imagination? And believe me, it ain't easy. I'm saying this as someone who gets all riled up at having to wait. But why don't I take that time and use it to enjoy the fact that I'm alive? Now, how can I do that? Well, I could admire what's in the lady's various array of groceries that she's bought. Or I could admire what I'm going to be doing when I get home. Or not admire, but I could cherish it, relish it. Or I could be ticking off things in my head that I need to get done. Or I could be dreaming up an idea for a new book, or whatever your thing is, a new proposal, a new business, a new garden, a new recipe, a new pet, a new relationship, a new house, a new condo, a new car, reclaiming an old friendship. I mean, think of the things that you could use those few seconds, maybe even minutes, waiting in line. Think of what you could use your imagination to do instead of to get all worked up as you're passing the time, you know. The time passes regardless of what you're doing. The time does pass at the same rate. And it seems longer when you're waiting, but it's not. It's the same rate, second after second after second, until you can no more be aware of what's going on around you, at least as far as we know. Try to take the experience of waiting, to take the toxicity out of it. Try to take the impatience out of it. You know what the word patience actually means? Patience derives from the Latin word patior, which means to suffer. So patience literally means the power of suffering. It's a power that you develop by doing it, by suffering. So essentially you can turn your suffering by using patience, the power of suffering, to turn that period of time into something entertaining, enjoyable, productive, you name it, something other than purely painful. It's really a failure of our imaginations, where we get painfully impatient. We lose the power of suffering, and we succumb to impatience. Well, let's resolve, you and me, from now on, when we're waiting, to at least try to use our imagination to develop within us patience, the power of suffering. This is Dr. Ned Hallowell with our mini episode, and if you haven't watched it, please check out the video I made on TikTok about the agony of waiting. It's only 60 seconds long, which is the beauty of TikTok. I have a ton of videos there that cover all sorts of other ADHD topics as well. You can find me on TikTok with the username @DrHallowell, or search the hashtag NedTalks. Not TED Talks, but Ned Talks. Thank you to my friends at Omega Bright Wellness for sponsoring my podcast. You can save 20% on your first order with the promo code DISTRACTION at omegabrightwellness.com. Please keep sending us your questions and comments. Record a voice memo on your phone or write an email and send it to connect@distractionpodcast.com. Distraction is created by Sounds Great Media. Our editor and audio engineer is the amazingly talented and very careful and acutely eared, auditorially equipped Scott Persson with 2 S's. And our producer is the brilliantly imaginative Sarah Guertin. And the first half of Guertin is spelled like Guernsey, but the similarity ends there. She is a true delight. And I'm Dr. Ned Hallowell, fumbling his way along and thanking you for listening as always. The episode you just heard was made possible by my good friends at Omega Bright Wellness. I take their supplements every day, and that's why I invited them to sponsor my podcast. Shop online at Omega Bright, and that's BRITE wellness.com.